On Kochie's Business Builders, what's in a name? A lot. How trademarks can protect your business. How meticulous planning for growth built a thriving global brand. Plus, a jeweller explains how to put the bling in your business. Hello and welcome to Kochie's Business Builders. This week, we're talking trademarks and why they're absolutely essential to protect your business. Consider how we deal with brands on a daily basis. They're associated with the reputation of a business and therefore influence what consumers buy. So when Noel Kowald took over an established chocolate factory, one of the first items of business was to protect its long-serving name. In just a moment, we'll hook Noel up with trademarking expert Binh Rey to get some tips we can all use. But first, let's go back in time to hear the story of how Davies Chocolates began. In 1932, Sydney Davies started making chocolates from his kitchen. They were such a hit, within a couple of years, Davies Chocolates was supplying hundreds of pubs and clubs across New South Wales with sweet treats. Even Admiralty House, home of the Governor-General, put in regular orders. Today, the business is still following Sydney's recipes under the new ownership of the Kowald family.
So, Noel, what prompted you to buy Davies Chocolate as a business?
Binh. It's a chocolate factory. It was available, we bought it.
Noel was undoubtedly excited to acquire his very own chocolate factory. Who wouldn't be? But there were serious issues to consider, forcing him to seek advice from trademarking expert Binh Rey.
When you bought the business, you realised that the name wasn't trademarked. Tell us about that.
When we purchased the business, we knew that the brand wasn't trademarked. And that is a significant business risk, we thought, because if we don't protect the brand, then we have to rebrand all of our packaging, and there's a significant investment in that, and also we lose the heritage of the name.
So Noel did the right thing and protected Davies Chocolates with a trademark.
People know our name and come in here into our little shop or go into David Jones or other retailers they know, and they're looking for our brand. So our product, to lose the brand, we lose those sales because then we're starting from scratch.
Your brand in particular needs to be trademarked because it's had a long history. And as you know, it doesn't cost that much to trademark. It's $1,500 plus GST to trademark it and own it for 10 years. So that's about $150 a year when you break it down to protect the name. Instead of having to go to court if someone taps you on the shoulder to say, hey, I've got the trademark and now you've got to stop using the name. How much would that cost you in terms of going to court? You'll need lawyers, you need a barrister, and the cost could be $20,000 to $100,000. So it's actually better for small businesses to recognise that they need to trademark from the start.
It's a small price to pay for a business owner's peace of mind, isn't it? Well, after the break, Binh Rey from Seriously Trademarks talks Noel through some issues to consider into the future. Are you thinking of starting your own small business? A new NAB report has found 7 in 10 people believe Australia is a great place to do business. Around the same proportion say if you have a great business idea, you can be successful. But it's important you know where to start. Half of small business owners in Australia say they feel overwhelmed because they're wearing too many hats. It's not surprising then that 57% of owners feel they spend too much time in the business instead of running the business. Smart planning, cash flow management, and staying on top of your tax should be a priority. To find the right banking package for your business idea, head to NAB's online business package selector tool.
Hi, I'm Mark Hodgins, founder and director of TKM9, a technology business. I'm supporting Kochie's Business Builders campaign for optimism. It's never been a better time to be in business.
This week, we visited a boutique chocolate factory, the headquarters for Davies Chocolates. Trademarking expert Binh Rey is showing owner Noel the key steps to protecting his brand. When the Kowald family took over Davies Chocolates, they decided to trademark the name. It was a great business decision, but usually experts would recommend not using a surname for a brand, and here's why.
Did you know that there are 18,475 Davies living in Australia? And as a rule of thumb, you can't really trademark a name unless you've got the history to turn it into a trademark, turn it into a brand. And the reason for that is because there's so many Davies in Australia, you can't have the exclusive. But the lucky thing with Davies Chocolate, the brand, even though it is a surname, you've actually got a long history. You'll probably be able to prove that people recognise the brand, and that will assist us to help you obtain your surname trademark.
Because Davies Chocolates makes a lot of its sales based on its name and reputation, Noel had to trademark the actual business.
We sell through, David Jones is a good customer of ours. A lot of people come into David Jones asking for our product or discover our product with David Jones. So the name is really important.
If you're setting up your own small business, it's important to do your research when it comes to a name and logo.
So it's actually better for small businesses to recognise that they need to trademark from the start, even before they even start and get a business name, is to research and spend the time to find a name that's trademarkable for the brand. There's a misconception out there that a domain name, a company name, a trading name, even the history of a company protects them for their brand, and it doesn't. Only a trademark does.
We have customers who come into our little factory shop who tell us regularly, it's surprising how many, they tell us that their father in the 50s and 60s and 70s came home from the club late on a Friday night with a token gift for mum. And the kids always loved it because they got to eat the Davies chocolates. So that name recognition is really important, and it's something we want to build on.
So no, a trademark, it actually takes 8 months to obtain. It takes 4 months for an examiner to look at the application, and then there's a period of 2 months where people can object to a trademark. And the reason for that is if someone has stolen a brand off somebody else, it allows the person that actually originally owned the brand to object to the application. And then once that you pass the 2-month advertising period with the trademark office, you'll be able to then register your trademark for protection.
So, Binh's top tips for business owners considering trademarking their brand are: be prepared for the cost of $1,500 plus GST, but it will cover you for 10 years. Steer away from trademarking family names unless there's a strong history behind it, like in the case of Davies Chocolates. And recognise you need a trademark from the very start. Great advice from our trademarking expert there, which should have Davies Chocolates maintaining its name and quality reputation for years to come. Now to our next segment, Pillars of Success, helping you build solid foundations for your small business. Here's Roland Hannacroot on how to achieve a healthy work-life balance.
This week's pillar of success is about time management. So when was the last time you turned off your phone and your email and you did nothing but think for an hour? I bet it's been a while. But you know what? It's the most valuable thing you can ever do for the development of your business. There's the work of the business, and then there's the work of the business owner. The work of the business can often be delegated or outsourced, but the work of the business owner can only ever be done by you. And thinking, reflecting, daydreaming even, is the ultimate work of the business owner. When you make the conscious decision to get rid of all other distractions for a while, your brain will blossom. You'll think more clearly, you'll be more creative, you'll be resourceful again, and you'll suddenly see opportunities and solutions that you've never saw before. Go to a cafe, go for a walk, go and sit on a bench in a park and do nothing. It will transform your business. I promise you.
Still to come on Kochie's Business Builders, how a near-death experience inspired an investment banker to throw in the big league, and create his own skincare business. That's next.
I'm Nick Cerrone. I'm founder of Shirani Jewelers. We are celebrating 45 years of our own Australian business. I've been very successful in business, and recently I've been invited to go back to my hometown to meet the Pope and showcase my jewelry. Well, my first step in business is customer service, because your customer needs to feel at home, and they need to feel comfortable, and they need to know that someone is really looking after them. My second tip is to surround yourself with good staff. I have 60 staff. Some have been with me from the beginning, 45 years. The third and the most important one is to push the boundaries. We're trying to be unique and different to compete with the rest of the world. They are my 3 tips in business, and thank you to let me share that with you today.
Welcome back to Kochie's Business Builders. If there are moments in your life which have inspired a great business idea, but you don't quite know how to make it a reality, then this next story is for you. It involves a couple of good old Aussie blokes who were determined to create a unique skincare product for men. One was a chemist and marketing expert, the other a former investment banker. Just a few years after launching their liquid skincare range, it's now stocked in the shelves of Bloomingdale's in New York and even Harrods in London. Here's how Anthony McDonough and Chris Glebatsas made it all happen.
A year before I met Anthony, where we created the actual products together, I went into work one day. I started to get issues with a headache, bit of a sore neck, and it's a fever. I thought, gosh, there's something wrong. I was then wheeled into the infectious disease ward and was told that I had meningitis septicemia, and with about a 14% chance of living. And then I woke up 4 days later with my mum beside the bed, and shortly thereafter my boss was there just checking to see whether I really was sick. So it was a reality check for me that actually made me want to start the brand, because I looked around me and thought, who's around me and what am I doing to fulfill and make myself happy?
One day Chris came home from work and he's like, so what have you done today? And I'm like, well, you know, I went to the pool with John, I had lunch with Stephen, and I caught up with Dave for a coffee. And he's like, okay. He said, I'm the young and pretty one. I should be doing that and you should be working. He's like, you're always talking about this skincare business. Why don't you start that?
My role is that I look after the finance and the logistics side of the business. Anthony's very much the marketing side, and we're the better of each other, so we don't really cross over in terms of anyone's roles, but every now and then I tend to tell him what to do.
When I did my organic chemistry degree, I thought I'd never use it. I went straight into a marketing role and spent the last 20 to 25 years working for big corporates building brands. And when you work in marketing, there's always compromises on new products. It's either speed to market, it's cost of product, it's who you get to market it to and how it should look. And you're always making a compromise. And I wanted to make sure that I actually produced the best possible product that I could.
You have to have systems and processes in place. So one example is our logistics software that we produced. We were just fulfilling online orders, but then I thought, okay, we need an EDI system, which is the system that communicates between your warehouse and a retailer. Normally you'd go and outsource that to a third-party logistics operator, but I felt that there was a need that we should invest into core systems early on and get them working in the business. So if a retailer like David Jones, who came along, said, oh, you need to be EDI compliant, let's go, yeah, we're already EDI compliant, we already have that in our warehouse, and we own that system ourselves. We're sold globally via our website, but we're also sold in Sephora Australia. We're in 28 doors across Bloomingdale's. We've also, which is really exciting for us, we launched quite recently into Harrods.
And over Father's Day weekend, we were Bloomingdale's largest selling men's skincare brand, so we kicked their ass. The thing is, it's authentic because so many skincare businesses have 20-year-old models as the face of their brand. They don't have a wrinkle on their skin. And here we are, a couple of guys who, well, I shouldn't give Chris's age away, but he's over 35 and I'm nearly 50. And people look at us and they go, you're authentic. And I want to buy into a brand that is telling it how it is. We're not going to tell you that we can take a wrinkle away, because it's not possible to do that, but we can improve the look and feel of your skin.
I just love their story and probably need to try some of their products as well. They are a great example of how planning for growth, particularly in back-end technology, can really pay off. Next on Kochie's Business Builders, my advice to a small business owner in search of some answers.
How do you convert any display with an HDMI connection into a complete PC? With this. That's right, what looks like a USB key is more than that. It's a fully functioning PC. Featuring an Intel processor, you have the performance and graphics you need to stream media, manage photos and files, or create spreadsheets with Microsoft Office applications. You've got instant connection with built-in AC Wi-Fi, pre-installed Windows 10, up to 128 gigabytes of storage, Bluetooth 4.0 for internet access and wireless peripherals, and with the latest compute sticks, you have up to 3 USB ports and a power adapter with USB cable. Simply plug into any HDMI monitor or TV, connect to a wireless keyboard and mouse, and work when, where, and how you want. So apart from giving you the power to work anywhere, what else would you use a compute stick for? Just say you have, say, a presentation and you don't want to cart your laptop around all day. This is your device. Or perhaps you need to power digital kiosks or digital signage. The Intel Compute Stick can easily stream photos and video. The options really are endless. Think of it as an ultra-portable PC that can bring any screen anywhere to life.
Now to my favourite time of the week, where you come to me with your burning business question and I do my best to provide an answer. The founder of Little Rockers Radio, a station set up purely for kids, got in touch with a question about company boards. Let's hear from Sarah Morrissey.
Hi Kochie, my name's Sarah from Little Rockers Radio, a 24/7 online radio station for children from birth to 6 and their mums, dads and carers. We've been around for around 3 years now, and my question is around boards and setting up boards for small business. I've been reading a little bit about non-executive advisory boards, and I would just love to have your feedback and thoughts on setting up boards for small business, how to go about it, and what the benefits are.
Thanks for your question, Sarah. This is a great one because it's something many business owners don't even think about, despite the fact that boards can provide huge benefits, and I'm a big fan of them. Now, it's important to note there are two very different types of boards, an advisory or a fully mandated board. An advisory board does pretty much what it sounds like. It provides advice and feedback on the business, but nothing is binding. The second kind, however, has the real power, and the directors who make up the board accept full fiduciary responsibility for your company. Big corporations listed on the stock market are required by law to have these types of boards. Now, for small businesses, though, an advisory board, I reckon, is more than enough. I've always had a board for my family business and will continue to do so because it's great for discipline and it forces you, at least once a month, to stop and really think about the business. Having a board also means you're getting objective advice from outsiders, which is great because as an owner and operator, we sometimes tend to be a bit too close to what's going on and fail to see the bigger picture. We get a bit emotional. The board will hold you 100% accountable. There's literally no hiding, which can be a bit annoying at times, but it is for very good reason. Outside directors keep you honest. Now, when it comes to setting up your advisory board, it's important to get a good mix of advisors. For example, you might want to invite, say, a subscriber, a sponsor, and an outsider with or without industry experience. When looking for board members, you'll find that lots of people don't want the legal responsibility of being an official director, but most successful business people are more than willing to be on an advisory board. It's essentially the same role without the legalities. Invite them to sit on your board, say for a 12-month period only. This way you can refresh it and bring in new ideas and advice on a regular basis. That hopefully helps you out, Sarah. As you know, I'm a great believer in boards. I've always had one for my little family business. Let us know how you go. Next week on Kochie's Business Builders, cutting the cost of a divorce. The family lawyer giving couples online legal advice from the comfort of her home. See you next week for more Kochie's Business Builders. Hey, join the KBB campaign for optimism.
There's never been a better time to be in small business.
Hi, I'm Jane Lou from Showpo, and I'm joining KBB's campaign for optimism.
Hi, I'm Sharon Williams from Taurus, and I'm joining Kochie's campaign for optimism.
I'm Tom Griffith from Emma & Tom's, and I'm backing Kochie's Business Builders campaign for optimism.
Hi, my name is Fido English from Balance. I'm a proud supporter of KBB's campaign for optimism.